let's continue building our animated drop-down menu. So what we need to do in this exercise, and just to give you a fair warning here, this exercise may be a little bit on the long-ish side, so you might want to get comfy, but got a lot to do here. We have to build our submenu, our drop-down menu. We've got to build that. I'm going to build mine in Illustrator, and then we'll copy them and paste them over here into Flash. We've got to set up a mask. We have to set up a little bit of animation as well, so lots to get to here. Now, I suppose you could build the drop-down menu here in Flash, but I'm going to do it in Illustrator just because I find building stuff in Illustrator is a lot faster for me anyway. So I still have my Flash layout file open inside Illustrator. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to zoom in here a little bit just so you can see exactly what I'm doing here. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to try and keep this as sort of quick and concise as I can here. I'm going to take the text there, seminars, and I'm going to duplicate him just by holding Option and holding down Shift as well, just to copy him out, or Alt, of course, on the PC side. Now, this guy is still a symbol, right? Instance of seminars_but, right? I'm going to go ahead and break that link. So now it's just regular, plain old vanilla text, right? No big deal. Okay. Now, the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go and create the, I guess you could say the actual background button for this drop-down item here. So let's see here. I'm going to go and grab my rectangle tool there, my tool there to the toolbox, and I'm going to click and drag out a rectangle. I'm not being too careful here. Maybe something like this. And then just hit V on your keyboard to flip back to the black arrow tool. Let's go and change this guy's color. So let's see here. I'm going to flip into my swatches, and I'm going to set the background color to the light blue there, and then I'll tap my X key to flip again the fill color and the outline color, and I'm going to throw on a white stroke here, something like this. That ought to do the job there. And then I want to move this behind the text, right? So try just using Control or Command and your open square bracket. There we go, something like that. You might want to take a moment and just sort of, size them a little bit maybe. Something like this. I don't know how large or how small you want yours, but anyway, something like that anyway. Okay, and my first menu item, drop-down menu item, I'm just using these fictitious seminar course names. It's going to be Finance 101. And I'm using lowercase here. You can take everything I'm doing here with a grain of salt. I mean, you can change your font if you want. You can change things up. Doesn't really matter how you decide to do this. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to grab both items, the rectangle and the text, hold down Alt and Shift, drag this guy down to duplicate him there. Actually, I'm going to do that one more time because when I do it, I want to make sure that the bottom of the copy, or I'm sorry, the top of the copy lines up with the bottom of the original. Something like that. I think I have that about right. And we actually want 4 menu items in total. So I've copied out one. I'm going to use Command or Control D to duplicate out the remainder. There we go, something like that. And let's just go quickly and change our text labels here. So the next guy, instead of Finance 101, is going to be Investing Principles. Don't worry if your text runs off the edge of the menu. That's no big deal. Third guy is Retirement Planning. And last but not least, the final item is going to be Tax Strategies. All seminar names that, we really want to attend those, eh? All right. So what I'm going to do, exciting stuff here, is I'm going to grab all of my rectangles. Now, this can be a little bit tricky because we've got text sitting on there, but I want to grab these rectangles in the background, not the text at this point. Grab these guys here, and I'm just going to try and scale them out, stretch them out, something like that, I think. There we go. I think that looks okay. And I want to see how this looks with my overall layout. I think that looks pretty good. Maybe I could increase the size of the text. Maybe I could increase the size of the background rectangles there. But I'll leave that finicky stuff up to you. I want to get this back over into Flash. So now what I want to do is I want to grab everything. Everything that we just created. The background rectangles, the text, the works. Grab it all and copy it. Command-C or Control-C. Now, if you recall, back when we were talking about getting content from Illustrator over into Flash, I mentioned that copying and pasting is an option, right? But we didn't actually do it. I don't think we did it anyway. So here's what I'm going to do. I've copied the content. The next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to drop my cursor into the menu buttons layer there. Remember the menu buttons layer, that's going to be for our submenu items. First frame on the menu buttons layer. Drop your cursor in there and go ahead and paste Command V or Control V. Now check out what happens here. Your version of Flash that's running in front of you may tick a little bit. It might have to think a little bit. And then eventually you'll get here to this paste dialog box. And we want to paste using the AI file importer preferences. We want to make sure that these two checkboxes are turned on and go ahead and click OK. Now, we do get our content, which is great, but check it out. Back in that dialog box that we just had, there was an option to maintain layers. So we have our header layer coming across from the Illustrator file. And as a matter of fact, that's where this content resides right now, is on that header layer. So we didn't get our content sitting where we wanted it to sit. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to grab all this content again, select it all, cut it, Command X or Control X. Make sure you have that header layer selected and delete it. We don't need it. Drop your cursor back where it was just a moment ago. Menu buttons layer, first frame, and then paste Command V or Control V. Perfect. Okay, now you're going to have to sort of move and position these guys where you want. Maybe something like that. Somewhere in there. I think should be fine. Not 100% sure, but we can always adjust it. Okay, now the next thing that I need to do, and this is a bit of a pain, and I'll try and go through this as quickly as I can, is each of our items here that we've created needs to be established as its own button symbol or converted to a button symbol here in Flash. So I'm going to have to do some breaking apart. We have a group here right now, so Controller Command B will break things apart here for you. Grab the first background, hold down Shift, grab the first text item there. And then I'm going to go Modify, and then down to Convert to Symbol. Note the keyboard shortcut, by the way, F8. That'll save you some time. And this is going to be a button symbol. So I'll switch my type to button. As for a name, maybe I'll do something like this. I'll do SEM for seminars, underscore FIN for finance. Or I suppose you could type out the whole thing. I'm going fast here for you. I'm just using shorthand here. But in the real world, you might want to use actual full labels there. And then OK, that's great. And then we got to go and do the next guy. We got to do all these. So let's do this quick here. So again, grab the text, hold down Shift, grab the background. What was the keyboard shortcut there to convert to a symbol? Do you remember? It was F8. So just hit F8 on your keyboard. Type is going to be a button. I'm going to call this SEM underscore INV for investing. And then OK. Next guy down. Same story, right? This is just repetitive work here. It's a button. SEM underscore RET. And then one more to go here. One more. Last guy. F8. SEM underscore tax. And he's a button as well. Okay, good job. Good stuff. Save up your work. We don't want to lose anything here. Okay, now the next thing that I want to do, I think you're really going to like this next part, because this is hopefully where things start making sense, is we're going to actually create the animation to create this drop-down effect here. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to head up to my mask layer, so one layer up inside the timeline there, and I'm going to create a rectangle just a little bit larger than my submenu items here. So go ahead and grab your rectangle tool. I'm not going to bother with an outline or a stroke, so I'm just going to turn my stroke off. As for the fill color, it doesn't matter. You can use whatever color you want. In fact, maybe just for the visual here, I'll switch to green here just so you can see the difference here between the two. We want a little contrast here for you. There's something like that I think should be fine. I'm just going to nudge this guy over a little bit. What you want is a rectangle that completely covers up the submenu that we had created. We had just pasted in, right? Okay, very good. Good stuff. We need to take this rectangle that we've created and now convert it to a graphic symbol. So up to Modify, down to Convert to Symbol, or I should have hit F8 on my keyboard. Anyway, this is going to be a graphic symbol. And as for a name, I'm just going to call this, mask. Call it mask rectangle or something like that. That's fine. Okay, go ahead and click on OK. All right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this object and I'm going to copy him. He's still selected on the stage there. I'm going to copy him. I'm going to head all the way down to the empty keyframe in frame 10 of the mask layer, and I'm going to paste in place. Command-Shift-V or Control-Shift-V if you're over on the PC side. Okay, back into frame 1, and here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to grab my rectangle, the graphic symbol that you and I just created. I'm going to drag him up while holding down Shift, and I want to position him just above the sub menu, something like this, right? Okay, so pretty simple. I'm just dragging that guy straight up. All right, looks good. The next thing I want to do is I want to create a classic tween between frame 1 and frame 10 on the mask layer. So again, just right-click anywhere between frame 1 and frame 10, create classic tween. And now if I scrub my timeline, we get something like this happening, right? Okay, awesome. Now, $1,000,000 question for you. Have you worked with masks in Flash? Mask layers? Again, I wish we had enough time to really dig into it. Unfortunately, we can't really, but essentially what we're going to do is we're going to treat the object that sits on the mask layer as a cookie cutter almost for the contents that appears in the layer directly beneath. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my mask layer, right-click on them, and choose Mask. And what happens, well, a bunch of things happen. First of all, the 2 layers lock. Menu buttons is now indented underneath Mask, and Mask is now uneditable there. He's locked down, right? So now if I scrub my timeline from 1 all the way over to 10, that's the animation effect that we want when someone moves their mouse over top of seminars, right? That's how it works. So I hope that worked for you. If it worked for you, quickly save your file so you don't lose anything. You might want to zoom out just a little bit, give it a try. You may want to play with this for a few minutes. It's pretty cool. Now, there's even more. There's more stuff that we have to do here. So we have to finish off our menu here. So I was hoping to get this all into one final lesson here, but it looks like I'm going to have to stop here and finish things off with you in one more exercise. So save things up, go grab a fresh coffee or a nap, and I'll meet you back here and we'll finish off this drop-down menu.